Does eating fat make you fat? This is a common and also important question that many people ask themselves, and today in this video I'm going to explain exactly that. I'm going to answer the question, and at the end of the video I'm also going to tell you which ones are the worst fats to eat and some alternatives you can try. Hi to everyone, I am Tommy. I'm a human nutrition student and researcher at the university. My job is to consume a lot of information in the health topic, and then I do my own curation and I explain and teach you the best and most valuable info you need to know. So, does eating fat make you fat? Yes and no. It depends. It depends on various factors such as the type of fat. There are some fats that are better than others. We have in the fats profiles, we have the saturated fats, the monounsaturated fats, and the polyunsaturated fats. So saturated fats are those ones that do not have double bonds between the carbons of the fatty acid, and the unsaturated fats are those ones that have either one or more double bonds between the carbons. That double bond gives to the fat different properties, and the ones I'm going to focus on in this video are the polyunsaturated fats, so the fats that have two or more double bonds between the carbons of the fatty acid, because they differentiate between omega-3s and omega-6s. And omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. You should know that. They always say eat your fish because it's good for you. Well, that's because it contains omega-3, and omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. And then we have the omega-6s. Omega-6s are very inflammatory, pro-inflammatory. So there has to be a balance between them of 1:1 ratio. I talked about this in other videos as well. But the problem is that we have 25:1 in favor of the omega-6s, and this is a problem that our society is facing. That's a factor, the type of fat. Then we have another factor, that is the metabolic state in which we are currently. For example, if we eat a diet that promotes the anabolism, we have a way of eating that promotes anabolism. So we, for example, eat high carbohydrate meals multiple times in a day, so a lot of frequency of meals and high carbs, and we stimulate insulin at every meal. That's very anabolic. On the other hand, if we do not stimulate insulin so much and we eat maybe just 2 or even 1 meal a day, and we do not eat so many carbohydrates, we're probably stimulating the catabolic state in which we degrade tissues. So as you can see, there are the anabolic and the catabolic state. And if we promote the anabolic and we eat the fat within the anabolic state, then chances are we are going to get fat. But it's very difficult. I mean, you can get fat in a catabolic state, but it's harder to be. So it depends on the metabolic state as well. Then another important factor is the hormonal state of our body. Our hormones dictate our health. There's a direct correlation between them. So a proper regulation of all the hormones we have, such as, again, insulin, glucagon, the neurotransmitters as well, and then the sexual hormones, the thyroid hormones, all together they have to be in a proper balance. Because if there is a deregulation, an hormonal deregulation, then it's more easily that the fat we eat will get converted into adipose tissue, the fat we have in our body. And then another important factor is the rest of the diet. The rest of the diet plays a huge role, and it's a very big difference when we change what we eat with those fats. Because you have to know that now in the fitness community, they always say, do not mix carbs and fats. Okay, but why is that? Because carbs and fats together they create a pro-inflammatory state in the body. And that's something we do not want, because it's easier to store that fat as fat. When we are eating carbohydrates and we digest carbohydrates and fats, we're going to put those carbohydrates inside the tissues to create energy out of it. The glycolysis pathway is going to happen, and we're going to get into the anabolic state. But when fats are also playing, there's a problem, because we absorbed those nutrients and they are in the bloodstream, but carbs cannot stay in the bloodstream, because an excess of glucose in the bloodstream is very, very dangerous. So they have the priority to get inside the tissues. And once they are in, no more fat can really enter, because the cell is already full. And in that case, the fat that will not enter the tissue for energy creation will get blocked in the bloodstream, and triglycerides are going to raise in the bloodstream. And here's the thing with triglycerides, they cannot really stay in the bloodstream for that much, because they are going to be a risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. So what the body does is to put them and store them in the fat tissue, and that makes a lot of sense. So try to avoid mixing carbohydrates and fats together, because it's harder to lose weight, and it's easier that the fat we ingested is going to create more fat on our body fat. And you see this pattern of high carbohydrates and high fats on all types of snacks, sweet snacks and ice creams, and of course the pastries and cakes. So just try to not mix them together. Okay, so now having this list here, you can see that there are factors that have something in common: inflammation. And inflammation is the one to blame. Inflammation is the bad guy. Inflammation is the one that makes you fat. It's not the fat we eat, but the fat we eat with inflammation that makes us fat. And of course, there are types of fat that are worse than others, because they promote even more inflammation. Remember the omega-6s and omega-3s. So in the end, inflammation is the guy to blame, because without inflammation, fats alone will not get us fat. And this is a myth. Eating fat will not get us fat. Indeed, there is a diet, if you don't know, the ketogenic diet, that's very, very high fat, because more than 50% of the calories come from fat, even 70%. And this diet is very helpful for losing weight and losing fat. Many people have used the ketogenic diet for that. For example, Thomas DeLauer used it, and Tristan Lee, which has an awesome body with very, very low body fat percentage, used ketogenic diets. And keto is very high fat, so fat is not the guy to blame. Inflammation is. And here comes the bonus. Okay, so which are the worst fats to eat? Well, the worst fats to eat are those fats we talked about that are high in omega-6s, because they are prone to inflammation. They are pro-inflammatory fats. And these are mainly the seed oils. Seed oils, canola oils, soybean oils, the sunflower oil, all those oils that come from seeds are very pro-inflammatory, and we must avoid them. Because think about, how do we get that oil from the seed? They have to heat up the seed like 300 degrees Celsius to extract the oils. And do you think that's something natural, something we can find in nature alone by itself? Of course not. And be careful, because those oils are used in all the fried foods, all the processed food. Look at the labels and the ingredients, because they also contain those seed oils that are very pro-inflammatory. And again, the combination of carbs and fats. So which are the alternatives to seed oils, for example? Well, virgin extra olive oil, avocado oil, even butter is better than those. All these fats, especially the saturated ones, are way better than the pro-inflammatory seed oils and the fats. So try and make the change to those better sources of fats, and your body will certainly thank you, and your health is going to improve for sure. This is it for this video. I hope you understood every concept I explained. If you have any doubts, there is a comment section down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon down below so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you in the next one. Ciao!